Can I please have Philadelphia Sheriff Rochelle Bilal to the stage, please? Sheriff Bilal was sworn into a 4-year term to lead the office of the sheriff for the city and county of Philadelphia on January 6, 2020. She is the first elected African-American woman sheriff in the 181-year history of the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office. In fact, she is the department's first ever elected female. Sheriff Bilal is a 27-year veteran of the Philadelphia Police Department. She formerly served as secretary of the Philadelphia chapter of the NAACP, and she is the former president of the Guardian Civic League, a law enforcement community oversight organization made up of over 2,500 active and retired police officers.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me here today. I want to thank everyone for being here. We stand here today remembering and honoring the memory of our colleague, Dante Austin. As a deputy sheriff, his friends and colleagues remembered the joy and support he brought to the department. I did not know Dante Austin. I was elected after the fact. His friends, they were devastated when they learned he took his own life. I stand here in support of his family, friends, and colleagues, and all those who have had to say goodbye to their loved one far too soon. Sergeant Jatera, come stand down here with me. Through Sergeant Taylor, I've learned about Dante Austin. So let's talk about when somebody takes their life. In March of 2022, Philadelphia reported 100 suicides, surpassing last year's record. Of that, 45% LGBTQ youth seriously considered suicide in the past year, according to the Trevor Report survey. It reminds us that LGBTQ young people are facing stress simply for being who they are. And added to that, LGBTQ people of color consider an attempt suicide as higher rates than any other. Facing anxiety, depression, and other symptoms, they are often denied the medical health services that they deserve. We have a problem that we have to deal with. I don't have all the answers, but I do know that we have to get in each other's business. Come on, y'all. Let me say that again, because I don't think y'all heard me. We have to get in each other's business. Y'all know how to get in each other's business, don't we? So let's get in each other's business. When I grew up, there were people in my business. So we need to get back to that. It has become necessary as so many of our LGBTQ family are suffering in silence. If I see someone I know not talking or being themselves, I am going to ask, how are you doing? Do you need anything? Do you want to talk? No, I'm here for you. Let's not be so busy that we can't see that our sisters and brothers may need some help. there are resources available to help those suffering with mental illness and things as depression. We can change those outcomes, but we have to take time to listen and care. My daughter came out when she was 15 years old. And one of the things that I noticed is that she was afraid, she was scared, and she didn't even feel as though anybody understood her. Now, I am a supporting mother when you're doing things right. Don't think you're going to do something criminalized and I'm be like, okay, no. We're not doing that. We law enforcement. But because I understood, she got the help she needed to basically figure out who she was. And to this day, she's good. Because we care, because we listen, because we ask. When I say we need to get back into being in everybody's business, we need to get back to being in everybody's business. Because doing that, you save lives. As I leave the podium, please accept our LGBTQ Fallen Heroes badges. We made these up in the sheriff's office in memory of Dante Austin. We have some here to leave with you today. It's because we don't want to forget him. He was good from everybody that talked about him. And the smile was ever loving. And so we have some here today to give away. These heroes badges is honoring him. And those who we remember, we will always remember them in our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Bilal. Can I have Officer Joe Mason to the stage? Officer Mason is a friend and coworker of Philadelphia Sheriff Deputy Dante Austin and will be sharing his story.
Good afternoon. I prepared a couple notes, but in that proud Irish tradition, I'm going to do my best to make a short story long and a long story a little longer. It's just what I do. And it was 2 years ago. I was supposed to get up and try and memorialize this person that we lost, this amazing friend of ours. And I didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I wanted to. And then as years have gone on, it only became harder because I didn't know why it should be me. And I think it's because, as Dante always said, you speak your mind even when your voice shakes. I could give you his biography. I could tell you that at 17, he enlisted in the Army and served honorably. I could tell you at 21, he took the sheriff's exam and became the first openly gay sheriff in Philadelphia. But that's a biography. It's filling in boxes. It's a Wikipedia entry. It's not who Dante was. And Dante was, first and foremost, your family. He was family to everyone that he served with, both in the Army and in the Sheriff's Office. He was family to us in Greater Philadelphia GOAL, the Gay Officers Action League. But when you talk about family, you couldn't not talk about his mom. He loved to honor her, and I never heard him say a bad word, though it might have sounded like he did when he called her a vending machine. He stated that she only pushed out snacks. He loved his siblings, and he wasn't wrong. One time when he said it to me, I said, I got to disagree, man. She was a chef. She made a whole damn meal. He appreciated it. He was great, and that's what it was. It was his siblings, and it was his nieces and his nephews, and it was the time spent with them, and it was being their role model, and it was living his truth and out loud and proud as the person that they needed him to be. He always said, always be the person that you needed when you were young. And that's who he was. For me personally, I was sworn in as the inaugural president of Greater Philadelphia Goal in 2016, and that's when I met Dante. He called my wife the First Lady right up until the end every time he saw her. He was fantastic. So much so that she's a hard woman to fool, but when I wanted to get engaged, I knew the only person who I could get to trick her into coming down to the engagement would be Dante, because she wouldn't ask any questions, she would just come. So he had told her that they were planning a party and he needed her help decorating, and of course she canceled all of her plans and jumped in the car with him. And as they pulled up at the Art Museum steps, they call them the Rocky Steps, he used to always say that that's nice, but the greatest celebration that ever took place there was our engagement. He opened up the car door and he said, I think this is your stop. And she got in and he spent the night that we were engaged. He meant so much to us that we knew when we got married that he had to be the person who introduced us to everyone for the very first time. It was only right that the first person who got to say that we were finally married was going to be Dante, and it was. I can keep, like I said, I'm Irish, and I can keep going on and on. Give me the opportunity, I will. I used to teach with Dante. We would teach all the recruits LGBTQ competency, and he was great for that. And getting to spend that time with him, getting to have him over my house. I remember I invited him over for dinner one time, and he came in, and like I said, I'm an Irishman, and we're not known for our cooking. And he kept saying, we can just order if you want. I said, no, I'll cook. And then when he came in the house and he saw me take adobo out of the cake, he said, oh, thank God. I thought this was going to be really white. But speak your mind, even when your voice shakes. And when it seems a little hard, do it for Dante, because the world is a better place for having had him. And we're all better for having known him. Donna, thank you for the gift of your son, and thank you for Dante, and thank you all for giving me a minute.
Thank you, Officer Mason. Joining us today, in addition to Officer Mason, is Dante's mother, Donna, Sister Amber, Lieutenant Ryan, Sergeant Tees, Dante's work partner, Lauren Taylor, Officer Jackie Killen, Officer Rashid Murrell, and Officer David Burns.